sit back and relax and chill and styleific. Hey guys, welcome back to TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back in Blender 2.8 once again, taking a look at how to do this cool style, like text kind of thing in Blender. And I figure we'll do a lot more text things because we don't do a lot. There's not a lot out there on it, and I like doing stuff with fonts and texts and, you know, intro style things, I guess. So, oh, style. We'll go ahead and hit delete on default cube because we don't need them today. Sorry, default cube. We just gave you some sunglasses. We're going to go ahead and select our camera, hit Alt-G and Alt-R to clear rotation and location. Hit RX90 on my numpad. Left click to confirm. G-Y to move it back. Now, we got that all set up. I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift-A to add in a text object. Hit RX90 on my keyboard once again to rotate that 90 degrees on the X-axis. Go to the Font tab over here. Pull this open a little bit, and we will go ahead and change the horizontal alignment from left to center, and then we'll open up the geometry and change the extrude value to we'll fix it up later on, but we'll just do 0.1 for now. That's not going to be enough, but we'll go ahead and open up the font tab right here, hit this little folder icon, and load up our font. And for today's tutorial, we're going to be using a font called Cocoa Goose. We're going to hit open font right there and scroll on into our text. We can scale this up by hitting 2 on the size, or we can just hit S to scale it, but I want to do it over here on the text. I've been doing that lately. I don't know why. So we can close all this because we don't need it anymore. We can get rid of all that because we don't need it. And also the font category too. We don't need that either. We're going to go ahead and change the extrude value to something like 0.3. Looks good. And we will go ahead and type in our font by hitting Tab to go in edit mode and the text editor mode, and hold down or hit caps lock, and I'll just go ahead and type in style, or stylin rather. There we go. Looks pretty good. And now, instead of having to convert this into a mesh to be able to change the like this piece right here, and make it a different color and stuff. Instead of doing that, what we can do is a super cool trick. So let me undo all that. We can go ahead and we are still able to edit the text. So usually this is a bad way to do this is to do what I just said, because then you can't edit the text anymore, which is a bummer. So the way we can fix that is to go ahead and hit Shift-D to duplicate it, right-click to cancel that movement. You do not want this to be off-center like this. It cannot be off, so you got to make sure it's in the same exact space as the other one. Now, what we can do is we can go ahead and change the extrude value down a little bit, so you can see that it now stops right there, and then turn the offset up by 0.01, and you can see how now we have a little bit of a lip there. Now we can turn this down even more. Actually, we can go 0.001 and it'll still work the same. We just need that to be a little bit higher than the actual text itself, so we can go as low as we want really here. We can go 0.00001 and it'll still work the same way. But if you go too small, then you'll start seeing this glitching, and as soon as you see the glitching, that's not okay. So we need to make sure you don't see that glitching anymore. But for today's video, I'm just going to go ahead and put that on 0.01 because I like the little lip it gives, because it has a nice little edge to it and it shines in the light. So I'm going to go ahead and change the extrude value up a little bit, but we're also going to turn up the depth just by a little bit. So 0.01 looks good. And then for our actual text with the same thing, we'll turn the depth up a little bit. So 0.01 for that too. And we will also change the extrude value for this and the offset by another 0.1. So looks good the way that it is. And the even greater thing is that we can change what the font says. So maybe I want to say sty like this, right? And now we can just edit all those letters on both of the font layers, and now you see we can just have that work the same way, which is really nice and much better than having to convert it into a mesh and then not being able to fix it. I'm so glad that I thought of this. I'm so glad that I came across. I was like, wow, that is a really great that's a really great way to do that. So I'm very glad we're able to do that. So we can do this as many times as we want to, too. So I can grab this outer layer, hit Shift-D to duplicate that, then change the extrude value by 0.2 again, and turn the extrude value down. Now we can have one in the center right here as well, which looks super good, too. Give a little bit more depth in there. So we can go ahead and do some of the stuff with the lighting now. I want to go ahead and go to Render Viewport Shading up at the top here, and grab that lamp, change it to an area, and then hit Alt-G, Alt-R to clear rotation and location. Hit GZ to move it straight up. Change the shape from rectangle to square, and then change the size way up. Now you can see we have a problem with the shadows. It looks super bad right now. We're going to go ahead and go to the shadow category, and we're going to turn some stuff up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the softness to 6, and we're going to turn everything down. I think everything down. Yeah, everything down except for the bias. The bias is going to go to 5, and the exponent, I can't recall what number I had the exponent on, so we're just going to do 2 for that. And we can also turn contact shadows on, but it does have some really bad artifacts, and you're going to have to turn the sampling up, which I don't want to do, so we'll turn that off for now. Because we can get a similar to the same effect with the ambient occlusion in the render tab here, in the scene tab. And we just turn the distance up, and you can see we got some nice ambient occlusion going on inside of those little creases there, like that. So yeah, definitely worth it to rather do the ambient occlusion rather than the contact shadowing stuff. Now, instead of going through all these, see the text is pretty static right now, it doesn't look the greatest. So what I'm going to actually do is we're going to go ahead and delete all these letters for all 3 of these layers. Now, if you have a lot of layers, it might be a bit tedious, but I'm going to go ahead and actually open up the viewport overlays and turn extras off so the lamp is not in our way, so we don't get those weird little lines, but we can still select it though. So with our text, with all 3 of the layers, I know it's going to be a bummer to do, but it's totally fine because we're going to go ahead and delete every single one of them except for the first letter of whatever you are typing. So if you're typing the word text, then only the T. So now we have the letter S by itself. I'm going to go ahead and hit B to box select all 3 of these layers here, and then we're going to hit GX.1. No, sorry, no, GX1 negative because I want to go that way. And then we'll go ahead and hit Shift D, and then move this back over to 1. So hit 1 on my numpad. And I'm going to change all of this to the second letter. So this will all be a T. So T for that, and T for that. Now we have each one of these letters separate, so we can go ahead and move them around and stuff, which is what I'm doing this for. So we can go ahead and select both of these and move them over by GX-1. Give some more space. Actually, we'll do GX1 -1 again, so we have more space. Hit Shift D, GX2. Now we can move those over, and we can change these letters too. So the more letters you have, the longer this will take, but that's totally fine. So we'll change all of these to Y because it is totally worth it once we are done with it to get that nice extra little effect. So style in, so we need the Y, the L, sorry, and then we need to move all these over. So B box select GX -2, and then we'll select these last 3 actually rather, and then hit Shift D GX-3. Sorry, not negative, just regular 3. Then enter. Now we can change all these, and we have all the ones we need. So style in. We have 3 different layers for each one of the letters now, so we can go ahead and select each one of the letters. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the T. Hit B to box select all of those, and then we'll just kind of just move these around by double tapping R, rotating them how I want them to be, and hitting G to move them around. So we can just move these in different locations and try and get it to look a little cooler. Now the really cool thing is if I were to go ahead and select the front face, the main one I suppose it would be, then hit Control P, we can parent these together so that if I hit just that one, then they will all move together. So that's a super easy way of getting some stuff good and together. So if I go ahead and hold down Shift for all of these, then select the frontmost facing plane, hit Control P, set parent to object, and then we do this for the rest of the layers as well, for the rest of the letters and layers. Control P, hold down Shift, select more than one, Control P, and for the in, same thing, hold down Shift, grab that first one, object, hold down Shift, and there we go. Looks good. I like it. So now we can do the rest of this for the other letters. We don't need to box select anything. We just grab that Y, rotate, double tap R to rotate, and we can just go ahead and do something like this. We can actually even change the scale of some of them if you want to. So I'll just kind of rotate them around. Maybe I'll put this Y underneath the T, scale it down a little bit. So style in, and looks good. And we're going to go ahead and rotate this guy around. Maybe have them come forward a little bit. And I don't want them to really intersect with each other because I don't really want any clipping. So we'll kind of just try and stay away from that, even though you won't really